Hello, hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And today, let's talk about letting go. How do you actually let go? And it's that old thing that people just say, the most common advice you see out there these days. How do you let go? Time. Don't worry. Time fixes everything. Just sweep it under the carpet. It'll be okay. Just go out there and keep dating. Just pretend like they don't exist. These are common things that you see out there, the advice that you should not take when letting go. So today I want to talk about how to actually let go when you have to co-parent with this person. Because it's easy to let go when you're dating. You can just block this person. See you later. I don't have to deal with you again. But when you're co-parenting, it's a very different world, isn't it? So let's talk about letting go with someone that you have to still have in your life. Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So let's dive in. So, you know what? I want to start this episode on a very different note in regards to letting go. I want to share a little story about myself, which I don't often do a lot. Maybe I do, I don't know, and I don't realize it. But anyway, I want to share a little story about what I've been through. And for some of you who actually do follow me on social media, you may see that every now and then I do these little things, like I've done sound healing, crystal Reiki sessions, my morning meditations. I do a lot of stuff like that. I love it. Anyway, I had this dream probably a few weeks ago now, and it was the most bizarre dream I've ever had. But the thing is, it was so vivid, and I don't normally have these really vivid dreams. And I wanted to share it with you because it was related to my ex-husband. Now, for a lot of you that don't know my backstory, 20 plus years ago, I was married. We were together for 12 years, but we were only married for a short period of time. High school loves didn't work out. And then I was with my daughter's father, but I never married him. That was a de facto relationship, but had my daughter with him, so he's obviously still in my life. But the thing is, with my husband, who we were together for, I shouldn't say husband, my ex-husband, that ended in 2006, so nearly 20 years ago. And that was quite a toxic breakup, and it ended with a lot of emotional damage, like a lot of "you'll be nothing without me," your life is over, all that kind of bullshit talk. And 20 years ago, I was a very different person. So you're led to believe that. You think, okay, well, he's right. I'm going to be nothing without him. Anyway, cut forward to about a few weeks ago where I had this dream. And I'm not going to go into full context of everything that happened, but one part of it was he was in it, which I thought was very bizarre. And there was this police officer, and it wasn't a local one. So for those of you who know where I'm from, I'm in Australia, I could tell it wasn't an Australian cop, so it looked like something from a movie or something. And all of a sudden, there was these other things that were happening, which I don't really want to go into, but my ex was there, and I started to walk away from the situation, and I'm like, I don't want to get involved in this. I'm not getting in trouble. I'm out. This is nothing to do with me. And then so I walked away from that situation, and he came up to me and he started shooting at me, and it was just like full, like machine gun shooting, like again, like you see in a movie. And I remember this so clearly. And I remember just lying on the floor after being shot, thinking to myself, okay, this is what it feels like to be shot. So it was like I was dead, but I wasn't. And then and then the police officer was there laughing at me, which was so bizarre. And then the next minute I pulled his leg, not the police officer, my ex, who was standing right at the end of me with the gun. And I pulled his leg after I'd been shot all these times and tried to pull him over, like try to trip him. And then he started shooting at me again. And then I remember just lying there, vividly thinking, again, okay, this is what it feels like to be shot. And it was the most bizarre thing ever. Like, really, I should have just been like dead or angry or something. I mean, hey, how could I be angry? Because I should have been dead. But in that moment, I was thinking, is this what it feels like to be shot? You would think normally I'd be getting angry, what an arsehole, I can't believe what's happening or something. But that was what I said both of those times when I got shot at. And anyway, you might be thinking, where's she going with this story? I actually looked into it, and what it means is it shows that I've got no attachment there. It shows it's like, okay, this is what it feels like. Okay, I'm good now. I'm okay. It's like I've totally separated myself from that situation. And that's why I wanted to share that. And I do 1000% believe that all the work that I've been doing ever since I first broke up with him about 20 plus years ago, or not 20 plus years ago, but 19, 20 years ago, all this work that I've done in this time has slowly mounted up to me being the person I am today. And that is the thing, like, you don't just heal overnight, but it's all these little things that I've been doing over the years. And this is where I probably first started getting into all this kind of self-help and self-development kind of work. When I first broke up with him, that's when I got into things like Wayne Dwyer, Oprah Winfrey, Dalai Lama, Tony Robbins, all that stuff. And back then it was all books and CDs. Podcasts weren't even really a thing back then. That's when I really started to progress into that self-development world. And so yeah, that's why I wanted to share that. It just really, that dream, it really just kind of, it like put the nail on the coffin for that, so to speak. Like, it just really validated that there is absolutely zero emotional ties or connection to him, my ex-husband. And for me, I mean, I know there never really was, but it was just really interesting that I had that dream just recently. Mind you, it was around a period where I just had a lot of healing work done. I did a lot of sound healing. When I did the crystal Reiki session, I had a few other things that I was doing all in the same time space. So to have that, it was like my validation. And it just felt really powerful. And this is where I'm getting at when it comes to letting go. It's not just a process of saying, okay, I'm done. Because there's always going to be some underlying issue. There's always going to be something that you're holding on to. There's always going to be that bit of resentment or that bit of anger. And most importantly, what you need to remember, letting go isn't something that just happens overnight or next week or next month or even next year. This dream that I had was from a relationship nearly 20 years ago. And it's not uncommon to see these situations where 10, 20 years later, people are still holding on to anger, hurt, resentment from that breakup, from their divorce, from their kid's mum or dad, from what they've been through, because they haven't let it go. Now, it's one thing to say, yeah, we've been separated for so long, of course I've let it go. And you don't realize, no, you haven't. Because if you're still angry, if you're still jumping onto social media and whinging about all these women or whinging about all these men, if you're still complaining about certain things, complaining about anything at all related to a relationship, then you're holding on to some sort of anger or resentment for something that you've been through in a relationship. I can guarantee you that. Letting go is a massive process, which takes time. It's not just a process of time will fix it. Time will heal all wounds. I hate that saying. Time heals all wounds. No, it does not. Whoever made that saying up needs to go into my dream where I got shot. And no, I shouldn't say that, but it was a dream, so I can say it. But you get what I'm saying. It's the worst advice anyone can ever give you. Time heals all wounds. Time may make you feel a little bit better. Time may help you forget things. It doesn't fix things. It doesn't change anything. Those emotions are still going to be there. So when it comes to letting go, there's so much more to it than just saying, okay, I've been single for 6 months now, so I guess I'm ready, or I don't think about them anymore, or I don't have to deal with them anymore, or they've got a new partner now, so I guess I should get one. That doesn't mean you've let go. And this is the thing why people get into the dating world and keep getting heartbroken and keep going through these same patterns, because you've still got all this anger and hurt there. You're still carrying on to all these emotions from the past that you haven't worked through. And it's not a matter of necessarily doing all this woo-woo stuff like I may enjoy doing sometimes. And I don't do it all the time, but I find it very powerful is the first word that came to my head. So probably it is powerful, but I enjoy it. And it's not something I tell everyone to do. If you can, yes, 100% go for it. But that is why talk therapy, such as coaching, is also a powerful thing, because letting go is not just a matter of saying, yes, I'm good. Yes, I've been single for this time. Yes, my ex has got a new partner. Letting go is actually looking at what triggers you from that person. Do they still trigger you? Do you still get angry every time you have to deal with your ex? Do you get worked up? Do you get anxious when you have to see your ex? Do you have to walk on eggshells for your ex? Do you worry about what they might think or what they might say? Do you worry that they might try and manipulate you or gaslight you? I can tell you now, if you said yes to any of these, then you have not let go. Because letting go is when you get to a place where you no longer have a reaction to what they do or say. You no longer get angry when they text you in a rude way. You no longer get triggered by it, because yes, it's not nice to get texted or receive a message in a nasty way. But when you're going to keep getting triggered by that, and when you're going to get bothered by it, you're going to react to it and respond back in that same way. You're just repeating that cycle. And I know it's easy to think, well, they're doing it. Why can't I? Well, fine, you can do it. I'm not telling you not to do it, but it's not going to help you. It's not about doing something because your ex is doing it. It's about not doing something because it's going to help you. And that's the idea. That's why so many people struggle to let go, because I think letting go is actually doing their ex a favor. They think letting go and by stopping communicating is benefiting their ex. They think letting go and not responding and not engaging and not proving them wrong is benefiting their ex. It's letting them win. No, I can tell you now, when your ex is sending you messages or they're trying to trigger you and they're coming out with these most bullshit statements just to piss you off, and you respond, they've won. Because that's what they want. They want to trigger you. When you let go and you can see a bullshit message from your ex, you just read it and go, that's stupid. And you don't even need to respond. And that's the point. Saying, that's stupid. You're not emotionally vested. You're not getting worked up. You're just reading thinking, yeah, well, that is stupid. And that's the point. That's when you let go. That's when you know that you have emotionally let go. You're not getting worked up. You're not getting upset. You're not getting angry. And you're not feeling like you have to respond, because if you don't, they're winning. There's no win or lose in co-parenting. And it's such a common mentality that people think that I can't do this because they're going to think they're winning. I can't do this because it shows that they're right. I can't do this because it looks like I'm giving in to them. And this is something I say all the time. Your focus with anything in life, in co-parenting, in dating, you need to have it more on you and what you're doing and what you want. When your focus in life is on what your ex is doing, I can't do this because it'll show them that they've won. I can't do this because it looks like I'm giving in. I can't do this because if you have that mentality when it comes to your ex, you are way too emotionally invested. You need to step back and put your focus on you, because you are not going to let go when everything you do when it comes to your ex is like, what about this? What if they say this? What if they say this? What if they do that? What if they think this? What if your focus, if you want to let go and you want to move forward, your focus needs to be on you. That's how you let go. Simple, right? No, it's not. I know it's not. But in theory, when you say it like that, that's how you move forward. If you want to move forward and you want to let go, you put your focus on you. That's pretty much it. Honestly, that sums it up in a nutshell. If you want to let go and you want to move forward, your focus needs to be on you. However, I do understand that it is not that simple. especially when you have a high conflict ex, especially when you have someone that is constantly trying to trigger you and is constantly trying to piss you off and is constantly trying to prove you wrong and make you look like a bad parent. It is not that easy. But in reality, that is what you need to do. When you're in that moment, when your ex is trying to prove you wrong, or when your ex is trying to piss you off, when your focus is on you, you don't feel the need to respond. You don't feel the need to reprove them wrong. You don't feel the need to have their validation or their reasoning or their explanation. And that is how you let go. You don't need anything from your ex. You need something from you. And that something you need from you is that belief in yourself. And that is why so many people struggle to actually let go, because they don't have that belief in themselves. They don't have that confidence. They doubt themselves so much. And that is a normal thought process when you're going through a breakup. Because when you've gone through a breakup, you're quite often at your mental and emotional lowest. You are feeling the worst in yourself. So having a high level of confidence and a high level of self-worth and all this self-belief is quite hard to do when you're going through a breakup. And that's why it's so hard to let go, because you can't just ignore that text when they tell you you're doing something wrong. You can't just ignore that message when they're telling you you're being a bad parent. You want to prove them wrong, because your self-worth, your doubt, your confidence, it's all gone to the shit because you're already not feeling good in yourself. So it's that constant need to prove them wrong, and it's that constant need for validation because you're feeling horrible. You just want something to feel good in yourself. But this is the thing, you're not going to get that from your ex. You're not going to get it from them. And that is why so many people, I should say that is why it's so common for a lot of people to struggle to let go, because it's that whole lack of belief in themselves, that whole lack of confidence, that whole lack of self-worth. So when they get that message from their ex saying that they've done something wrong, or they're trying to blame them for something, or they're trying to change plans, or they're trying to accuse them of something, you get caught up in that vicious cycle of texting because you're not confident in yourself to stand your ground and say, no, actually, I'm not engaging in this, or no, I don't need to prove them wrong, or whatever. That's what you want to think. Not responding. Don't care. And when you're feeling shit in yourself, it is so easy to get caught up in that vicious cycle. And that's why for so many, it can be such a drawn out process to let go, because you've got to get off that ride that's taking you nowhere. And that's what it is. When you're constantly engaging with your ex and you're convincing yourself that if you don't respond, you're letting them win. You're convincing yourself that if you don't engage, it's showing them that they've won. But the thing is, the more you engage, the more they're winning. You're looking like the crazy ex every time you engage. You're looking like you constantly need their validation. When you want to let go, you need to believe that it doesn't matter what your ex thinks. This is one person in your life. And the more you constantly try to prove a point or want something from your ex, the harder your co-parenting relationship is. And who's got the energy for that? And as I always say, it's not about being best friends with your ex. I mean, hey, if you can, great. But that's not the end goal here. The end goal is just to be amicable for the sake of you and the sake of your kids. Because it is such a mental and emotional headfuck when you're constantly fighting with your ex, when you're constantly caught in this vicious cycle of winning and competing and proving each other wrong. And that's why so many struggle to let go, because they get caught up in this cycle. They don't know how to get off this ride of proving their ex wrong. They don't know how to get off this ride of just shutting down this toxicity, this drama, this communication, this texting. They just don't know how to stop it. And then you might say to yourself, or you might be saying, Leanne, but they keep messaging me. It's not me doing it. It's them. They're messaging. Yes, maybe they are. But you have control over your response, not them. You have control over how you react, not them. And that is where you learn to let go. by learning to control how you react. Now, I'm not saying that you're crazy by saying learning to control how you react, but your ex can say or do or talk whatever nonsense they want to talk. You have no control over that. The more you constantly try and say, you've got to stop doing this, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say this, the more you are caught up and consumed in their world. If you want to let go, if you want to move forward, you need to let go of what your ex is doing. You need to let go of what your ex is saying. You need to just focus on you. Focus on you. Because when you're constantly caught up in that world of them, you are only delaying yourself from letting go and delaying yourself from moving forward. I just want you to really keep that in mind. And I do understand when you're in the moment, when you're in the heat of it, when the emotions are running high, when you might be caught off guard, and I know when you're on the spot, you're put on the spot, that's when quite often you don't have the best reaction. And I get that. We all have that moment. But when you slowly get to that place where you're not having a reaction, you're not responding, you're not getting emotionally invested in what they say or do, that's when you start to move forward. That's when you start to let go. And it's not a matter of it happening overnight. It's slowly changing the way you react to them, slowly changing the way you respond, slowly stepping back from having any emotional attachment to your ex. And it's a huge thing. And it starts also with not taking things personally, because they will say things, they will do things, they will throw the worst digs and attacks at you possible to try and get a reaction. But you can't take that personally. And this is all part of keeping your focus on you. Keeping it on you, not what they say, not what they do, not what they're trying to do to you. Who cares? Let them say it, let them do it, let them do whatever they want. The only thing you have control over is how you react and how you respond. And the better you get at doing that, that's when you start to move forward, and that's when you start to let go. When you have no emotional attachment to them. And I can tell you now, it is a beautiful feeling to get a message from your ex and you can just read it and go, yeah, okay. And just not be triggered, not be bothered, not be fazed, not have the need to rush into dating because you feel like you have to, not be worried what people might think because you're a single parent, not be worried if some random person says to you, well, you must have failed as a wife, because I've had that said to me on multiple occasions. You must have failed. They say that just because they find out you're a single mum. I mean, I'm sure single dads get comments too, but that's something I've had thrown at me a lot. And if I was probably back in my early days, I probably would have been a little triggered by that. But now I'm just like, nah, that comment actually says more about you than it does me. So as you were, doesn't bother me. And that's it. That's how you get when you emotionally let go. And it's not about not giving a shit about people. It's not about not caring about anything. It's about not being emotionally invested in things or people that are not aligned with what you want, that are not matching your energy, that are only there to suck the life out of you. You don't want that toxicity in your life. And when you learn to let that go and not give it any energy and not give it any attention, I can tell you now, life gets 1,000 times easier. It really does. When you learn not to give energy or attention to people, your ex, people in the dating world, and you don't give them that attention, that is not adding any value to your world. Such a big thing, and it makes a huge difference in your world. So if you're feeling that way and you're at a place that's like, yeah, fuck, that's what I need. I need to be able to emotionally detach, but I don't know how to do it. Then let's have a chat. Let's get you through this, because I can tell you now, this is how you start letting go. By focusing on you. And this is what I do in my coaching sessions. We look at what we can do. We look at what is triggering you. We look at, let's find ways to make this work. Let's give you some little tools that you can put into place so you're not reacting the same way. So you're not getting caught up in this vicious hamster wheel with your ex. Let's get you off this ride and get you to a place where you actually feel good and you're not triggered every time you have to communicate. You're not triggered every time you need to do drop off or pick up. You're not triggered every time you see their name pop up on your phone. And when you get to that place where you're not triggered, that's when you can let go. Well, that's when you have let go, I should say. That's when you've moved forward. And that is the important part. And that is what you need to do when you want to step back into the dating world, because you don't want to have all these triggers that you're holding on to when you're dating someone new. You want to be able to let go of them. So if that's where you're at, let's have a chat. I've got that free intro chat in my show notes. Jump down there and jump on, I should say, and book a session. And come on over and say hi. Let's have a little chat and let's get you through this. And for anyone else, if you follow me on social media, and if you're not following me on social media, I should say, come on over and say hi. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, I'm on everywhere else. If you've got any questions, then come over and ask away. And if you've got anything from this episode, share your feedback. Share your feedback. If you've got any reviews, jump on and give me a little 5-star review, or send me your thoughts, send me your comments. Give a review, because this is how we get heard into more single parents' ears. So share it with your single parent friends. And that's it for me, guys. Thank you all. And until next week, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.